here, the scale of bankers' bonuses is likely to hit the headlines again this week, as the BBC has learned that Barclays is set to announce £2 billion of payments to its staff this week. This is less than is usually doled out by Barclays, but is still substantially more than the bonuses at RBS. So where does this leave banks that signed up for the government bailout? Well, we're joined by Professor Chris Roebuck from Cass Business School in London. Thank you for coming in to talk to us. Let's just talk about Barclays first of all and those £2 billion of bonuses. Do you think that this is a relatively, I stress that word, modest sum compared to what Barclays normally pays out?
There's been a reduction in terms of what they normally pay out. It's probably dropped from maybe 40% down to less than 40% now. And that's a reflection of the degree to which they're feeling the heat, so to speak, from both politicians and the public, yes.
RBS, 1.3 billion in bonuses, okay, less than Barclays, but we've got to put that in the context of RBS accepting a huge state bailout, 84% I think owned by the taxpayer. How do you think the banks are going to actually sell this to the public?
I think they're going to sell it on the basis of they need to have the best people to actually produce the best results. Obviously, from the perspective of Barclays, there is an obligation on their leadership team to produce the best results for their shareholders. RBS will no doubt say that it's in the best interest of us as taxpayers for them to have good people to get our money back to us as fast as possible.
The bottom line, which is emphasised over and over again by the banks, is that it would be commercially disastrous if they didn't pay out the sorts of bonuses that attract the best people.
To be honest, they do have a point. It's absolutely accurate to say that there are other banks, foreign banks in London, who would quite happily get those top people from both RBS and from Barclays to walk across the road and to work for them. Because as far as they're concerned, if they can take market share from Barclays or from RBS and it makes them profit, that's what they'd like to do.
The fact is, though, that that's not going to sit comfortably or wash with the general public, you know, looking at cuts to public services.
Absolutely not, and I think it's fair to say if you look at maybe one or two £1 million bonuses for top bankers, and to be honest, that equals the entire lifetime pay of some of the soldiers we have seen fighting on the television tonight. So to some degree, people will view that as obscene, and that was the word that Obama used about bankers' bonuses. But in all fairness, what's happened is this isn't the result of an individual bank trying to push up pay. It's the result of year on year banks trying to get the best people in, and the differential between bankers' pay and the pay of everybody else over the last 10 years just getting completely out of kilter.
I suppose the big question in all of this is the banking culture, the bonus culture, the sort of culture that encouraged the excessive risk-taking that we've all heard so much about. Do you get the sense that there is a change going on there in terms of the culture, even though we are still seeing some pretty big figures being bandied around?
Yeah, I think we need to work out that actually it wasn't completely the bonus issue that resulted in the excessive risk-taking. And there
was part of it.
Definitely, it was part of it. But it's fair to say that there were structural issues that actually caused the system to implode, so to speak. The bonuses are a separate issue, and I think the bonuses have been paid in most of the major banks for a number of years already in the way that the FSA want them paid, i.e. you get a maximum of 50% in cash and the rest of it is in shares deferred over 3 years. So to some degree, most of the banks are already doing what they are being asked to do. The core problem is that banks make so much money that people get big bonuses. And until somebody turns round and says, from the political perspective, we have a worldwide answer to this, no individual bank and no individual country is going to want to step out of line.
Okay, Professor Chris Roebuck, thank you very much.